Hello, my darling friends. I have a special little gathering for us today. I have just brewed a cup of tea, and I'm going to pour us a cup of tea. How are you guys doing? You guys doing well? You know, there's nobody here yet. It's just me talking to myself. Well, I will just pour myself a cup of tea and wait for some of you guys to get here. See how you're doing. All right. Oh, there's Sylvia. I knew it was going to be you. Thank you so much. You're my first person here. How are you doing? Did you have a good week? Doing okay? I've just poured myself a cup of tea. It's a new tea. I'm going to show you, but now I have to add a little bit of half and half. There we go. This is Harney & Sons. I am early today. Yes, that's probably why I've surprised everybody. Harney & Sons Scottish Morn tea. We just my lovely, thoughtful other half, who's working over there, bought this for us the other day, and we loved it so much that we ordered a pound of this Harney & Sons Scottish Morn. It's wonderful. It is so wonderful. Hello there. This is the kind of tea. And I always add a little bit of half and half to it. It's wonderful. So yes, we're early today. Hello, Mary. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. This is going to be fun. This is going to be a magical little gathering. It's raining outside right now. I'm going to tilt you over there and show you in a second. And I have to tell you about our studio circle that happened last night. You can join those, actually. You can join them. If you're not a student, you can join them on Patreon. You see the cat. Don't look at this. The cat's ripped that up. But it's raining outside. Just kind of tilt you back a little bit. It's a beautiful, rainy day. Yeah? Don't look at the cat-scratched couch. Put that out of view. There we go. All right. Yes, so let me tell you about that first. This was so much fun. I just had a thought, we had our first one last month, but I just had this wonderful thought that it would be a great idea for us to get together on Zoom as a studio, and, for those of you that are on Patreon, to be able to join that. If you're interested, my Patreon link is in my Instagram bio, so if you just go to Violin Viola Masterclass, just go to the link on my Instagram bio, like about the About Me section, and you can just click right on that, and you can go to Patreon. And if you're not able to join it on Patreon, I put a little link to view our little get together privately for a month. But I just want to show you because it was just so fun. Can you play Nocturne 20 on the violin, please? Oh my goodness. We are going to do harp stuff today. But maybe one day. So let me show you guys. This was our little studio.
There we go. All right.
Circle.
So thank you.
And let's see. I don't know if you can see, but there was just a bunch of us there last night. It was just a lovely, fun little gathering, and we're going to have Halloween themed ones and Thanksgiving ones and Christmas ones and New Year's ones, and just any excuse for a holiday. It's going to happen on our little studio Zoom gatherings. We used to do them in person, but now that I have so many students that are all over the place and being in person is difficult in our day and age right now, we're just meeting on Zoom, and it's just lovely. So it was just a time to just get together. I opened the doors about 7 o'clock, and the class started at 7:30, and we just had a lovely time playing, talking about music, and the first 30 minutes while people were trickling in, I was trying to describe how to make a cup of coffee, and I don't know if you find this the same too, but I'm a teacher, and so I spend all day explaining things. I explain how to do these very precise things, and it has to be really clear, but I cannot describe how to do non-musical things very well. So describing how to make a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, like describing anything that's not music related is sometimes really challenging for me. I don't know, my brain's just like hyper wired into explaining how to do like musical related stuff, but other life skills, no, have no other life skills. So anyway, you guys, if you just joined, thank you for being here. We are drinking the Harney and Sons Scottish Morn. It would be fabulous to be sponsored by, you know, because if we have afternoon tea, it's morning tea though. To be sponsored by Harney and Sons would be so fabulous. They are the greatest tea, actually. I love, love, love this. Love it. It smells amazing. It's a loose tea, and if you are, you know, confused about how to brew a loose tea, just get one of these. Just get a little, whatever this is called, a French press. There you go. A little French press, like a single serve French press. Put a little teaspoon in and fill it up and brew it for 4 minutes. And it's the best tea I've ever had. You know, I don't know that it's really the best idea to be drinking out of tea bags all the time, you know, because a lot of tea bags are made out of plastic or paper, and, you know, hopefully it's like not filled with toxins and things, but you can't go wrong with loose tea. Let me show you this. Yes, let's see here. It just smells amazing. Love, love, love. So you guys, I just want to show before I forget, and I hope it doesn't bother anybody. Ooh, my alarm's gonna go off. That was my tea alarm. Cancel. I think it's canceled. Okay, there we go. I just want to show you how to join Patreon really easily. If you guys, you know, are on Instagram, just go to my Instagram. Okay. Violin Viola Masterclass, and this is where the bio is. Okay. You can just click this little link right here, and it'll take you right to my Patreon account. Make sure that there's no like passwords or something. And every Monday, you know, I upload a little mini lesson. There's 59 of you there, which is so lovely. And every Monday you get a little mini lesson. Right now we're going through the scales, and if you want to join the other tier, you can join the virtual studio circle tier. And you can, you know, I'll send you a link to join our monthly gatherings as a studio, and you know, you can ask questions and play things and just listen to, you know, everyone play and just have some community time together. So anyways, just go to my Instagram, you can check that out there. So the other thing that we have here is a lovely meal, a lovely breakfast. So this is a rice cake with an avocado, and I've squeezed some lemon juice on it. I like put lemon juice on absolutely everything. And there's a little garlic powder, some cayenne pepper, and some salt. And it's just a really fast and yummy meal. So we're gonna have some of that too. A little bit challenging to eat rice cakes because they're a little crumbly, you know. Yum, yum. It is yummy, yes. Do you guys like avocados? Some people don't, you know, and I eat one when I can, like every day. I try to eat one every day. They're very good for you. I put a little too much cayenne pepper on there. Hello there. This is avocado with garlic powder and cayenne pepper and salt and lemon juice. It's quite delicious. It's a beauty food, It's a drizzly day today. It looks like it could be like a wintry day. But it's really hot and humid out today. Very, very humid. But you know, it's not so bad as long as you have air conditioning. As long as you have air conditioning. I've definitely lived in places where we had air conditioning, but it just did not work, and it was it's horrible. It's supposed to be raining all day here in New York, is it? Bok D Gray. I recently tried avocado for the first time. It does taste smoky. Yes, it does. And you're supposed to, like, I always leave them on the counter to ripen for a few days. If you put them next to bananas, they ripen a little faster. Don't put them in the fridge. But I know, Sylvia, don't let like rainy days feel so cozy. I just love, 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 love. As long as I don't have to go outside, I love rainy days. It's wonderful. I also have some exciting news. So we found out that we are going to be able to move to another apartment that has a little space for me to have a little music room. So I'll eventually have I'll have to show you like my music room tour. It's going to be just it's like a small little den, basically. But I am so excited to just turn that into this beautiful artistic space. It's going to be glorious, glorious, glorious. That'll be probably in October sometime. So today we're going to have a magical get together. I'm going to show you some of these new wonderful books that I got. One thing that has been just really helpful for me during this quarantine time is, and just any time in general, is just that you've got to feed your mind. You have to feed your soul something interesting. And feeding our soul is not always achieved from like watching something. Sometimes you have to pick up something and just look through it and just get lost in, and art is a wonderful thing, mythology is a wonderful thing, history is an amazing thing to get lost in. As long as it's written well, history can be boring, but if it's written really well, then it's fascinating, fascinating, fascinating. But anyway, if you are not familiar with the wonderful artist Brian Froud, you are about to be, and he is absolutely awesome. He lives in England on like these old Saxon ruins. His home is on an old Saxon ruin. I just wanted to read you a little bit about his perspective as an artist because he's just so lovely, so lovely. And let me just see that I love this book because one side is the good fairies and then the upside down side is the bad fairies. And as you know, in all of us we have the light and dark, we have the good and the bad. So it's just fun that it's like one way and then the other way. And it's very, 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 very cute. So we're gonna look at that. I also am so excited to show you this. This is the magical Brian Froud fairy deck, and when I would teach in person, I would have like a deck of cards on the table along with like some little snacks and whatnot for everybody. And you could pick a card for your lesson. We would just put that card on the stand for the lesson. Sorry, it's that cayenne pepper. I love cayenne pepper. I put it on everything. And I like having these beautiful cards on the music stand because you can draw amazing inspiration from them. So I'm gonna, pull some cards for us today, but I really just want, and I also want to play some intervals for you on the harp. I have to tune the harp up and maybe you can help me with that. But it's just a casual, fun little get together, just a rainy day, chill day. And I don't know, have you noticed that my channel has really skyrocketed recently? It's because of a simple video called The Violin versus Viola. What's the difference? Sylvia, so if you turn it the other way, is the writing upside down? No, it's not upside down. I'll show you. It's really a neat book. So don't disregard the value of a simple, concise video that just explains something that's maybe confusing and just explains it kind of clearly. This video, Violin versus Viola, has almost 70,000 views on it, which is amazing. And I thank God my hair looked good in that video. But that's always what I always try and make sure that I look presentable in videos. So because just in case, you never know when this day will come where it just kind of hits a chord with the universe and people watch and watch and watch. But this video is just all about the difference between the violin and viola. And if you guys, some people ask you if you play the viola like a cello. How rude, how rude. And it's because, I think it's because of two-set violin. I really think that two-set violin must have, they always, I love them. They always make these horrible viola jokes. It's because I think they're like jealous of the beautiful, natural, beautiful sound of the viola, which the violin just will never have. It just won't ever have that. So the insecurity of the, you know, that like sad violinist that will never have that richness of the violas coming through. So are they roasting the bass now? Okay. But anyway, I love them, and I love reading all the funny comments. Every day there's like all these funny comments on. I told you about this last week. It's still going. Like it's still going. This might be my most popular video ever. So if you're new to the channel from that video, thank you so much for subscribing and for being here. And every Friday we just have tea and a snack and talk about musical things or art things and, you know, do a little music and just hang out. It's very chill. Wednesdays I try to upload like a tutorial video on something. Recently it's just been like play along with me recordings of scales. And then Monday, for those of you on Patreon, is a lesson video. So I'm just trying to be active, put stuff out there for you guys. And it's just wonderful. It's wonderful. It's fun. It is really fun to just do your own thing. And I bet a lot of you, you know, do that. Just do your own thing. Because if you really enjoy it, other people will enjoy it too. And, you know, not everyone also has to enjoy what you do either, you know? These are quite hard to eat, but they're very good. Very, very good. I just like the crispiness of the rice cakes. Yeah. Okay. Well, let me grab a little sip of tea. And how are you guys doing? Just tell me how you're doing and what you've been up to. And do you have any questions about anything? You know, any musical questions or technical questions? I don't have my violin out today. In fact, my violin and viola. Oh, actually, I think I asked this on Patreon. I can't remember. I'm gonna ask you guys I'm gonna interview David Michie again. We're gonna meet on Zoom. He's one of my dear friends, and he's been a friend of my studio for the entire time that I've lived here. I used to live in Arizona. But I've been out here I've been in, you know, the Philadelphia area since 2013. I think it's 2013 I came out here. Yes. So I went to Temple University for my master's degree. And he's just been lovely. He has just been the best. So my violin and viola are actually having a spa day. They are there getting rehaired, getting new strings, getting polished up and everything, getting glam. And so I'm going to interview him and just do a little interview with him because I truly think that he has the best beginning violin outfits. And I know that, really, but Sylvia, that was the first video that you watched. Thank you. The one with David. Well, and you know what, I know that this can be a touchy subject or a confusing subject, and I'm not telling you that you have to, obviously, you can go get a violin or viola or instrument wherever you want. It's just that when I was buying this harp, I really had no idea like where to go, and I knew that I wanted a nice harp. I wanted it to sound good. I didn't want it to sound like this. If I was going to spend any money on something, I wanted it to sound nice and to be playable and to be made very well. And be in a price range that I can afford, you know. And I was willing to put some money into that because I, as a musician, am like concerned about the sound of the instrument. And, you know, I want it to be made well. I want it to sound good. I want it to be playable. So, but when you first start out on the violin, there's actually a huge range of price that you can, start at. You could get a $60 violin with bow and case and everything. You could get a $500 violin, case, bow, and everything. You could get something that's $1,000, or David started at $1,500. But I just wanted to kind of give people an idea of like what is like the top of the line beginner violin outfit, right? And if that's something that you're interested in, this is where I send all of my students that are interested in that too. And so the fact that they now, because of everything in the world, and before they did this a little bit, but now I think more so because of the case of the world, they're able to ship things out. And so their customer service is amazing. The way that they look after the instruments is amazing. And the fact that you retain your value, like your investment, if you want to upgrade, you have the complete value of your investment to put to another instrument in the future, which is great. You can also trade things. If you ever have a problem with it, you can call them. So it's just, if you're a little baby one and you have like you're doing like a rental because you play a half-size violin, they have a little program for that to help you retain the value of what you're putting into the instrument, so that you don't have to keep throwing away money or renting a piece of crap for your whole, like from the time you're 5 until the time that you're a full-grown violinist, So it's just, I want to interview him and talk to him about, what they're doing as far as that, so that if any of you are interested in that, you can check them out and give them a call and find something fabulous, because I like fabulous things, So I'm going to interview him. And if you guys have any questions, please let me know your questions, because I do have a video about it, but the new and improved version might be better. And if you do have any questions about violins or beginning violins or anything like that, I would love to know, because I'm going to interview him and ask him about it. And we're going to just talk on Zoom. So, whoops. It fell off, you guys. It's so great to actually have a channel, a YouTube channel, because my music teachers, there's so much to actually learn from music and just art in general. And you don't have time to ask your music teacher about all these kinds of things. Do you have any recommendation on the kind of viola bow? See, that would be something that I could ask David about. It really just depends on your price range and case. I like Babolat. Babolat cases are great. They sell them at David, Michie. You can get them on Shara Music. You can get them, they're a standard case. Babolats are made really well. BAM cases, BAM. Those are awesome cases. They're very expensive. Very, very expensive. A BAM case is like, I think they start around like $600 or $700 for the case. So that would be if your instrument's very valuable. It's really protective and it's very light. So if you have to carry it around, like I remember when I was in college, it was really helpful to have a light case, because all of the things that I had to carry all the time, I wanted my case to be light. So having a carbon fiber case, it's very strong and very light. Fabulous, and they look very, very sleek, very, very sleek. So you guys, let me just like finish this one piece of my food and then we will get into everything. You know what, let me grab a notebook. I'm gonna grab my notebook, and if you guys have any questions about cases or bows or anything, whoops, just let me know, and I'm gonna write them down. Just grab my notebook real quick. questions for David? So cool that you could actually see the comment in such short time. Oh yeah, well, I try and catch them. I try and catch them. So, let's see. Questions for David. Wouldn't it be nice to have like elegant handwriting? I like write so unelegantly. I mean, it takes time, that's the thing. So, bows. Cases. Any other questions? Like, would you have any other questions about buying an instrument at all? Or like their policies for things, or shipping out stuff, or, you know, whatever. I've thought of one. Hearing the instruments and comparing. You know, when you first start, it makes sense to just get like a really cheap instrument to just see if you like this. You know, if you like playing the violin or playing the viola or playing the cello or whatever, it makes sense to have like a really cheap one. How long does it usually take for an instrument to be sold? My violin has been for sale there for like at least a year and a half. I have a very nice violin for sale. But, you know, it just depends. I don't know. Sometimes it can get sold right away. Sometimes it can take a long time to be sold. But yeah, mine has been for sale for at least a year and a half, maybe 2 years. I was actually originally trying to sell it so that I could buy a new viola. But then I ended up not really liking the viola that I had commissioned, and that was sold, you know, onto somebody else. Because that luthier has a very, his instruments get bought very quickly. The value of a name, right? And also what you do with your craft is quite, you know, the value and quality of what you do personally is important. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh yes, so I didn't end up getting that viola. So it wasn't really a big deal that I didn't end up selling my violin. And now just whenever it gets sold, it'll just go into like investments or something for the time being. Or maybe I'll get like a really badass bow. I don't know. Who can say? But the thing when you're playing, when you're looking for an instrument, after you've like had time to like play the violin a little bit and you know that you like the violin, you want to consider the playability. How does it feel to play this instrument? Because every instrument is a little bit different. The strings, the tension on everything, like the putting down your fingers on the strings, you know, just everything is a little bit different. And also, how does the bow respond with that? So matching the sound of the violin and the bow, because the bow can really mute the sound, it can bring the sound out, all those kinds of things. So I guess one of the questions that I might have for David eventually is that I'd want to see, like, let's say that I was looking for a violin that was like $3,000 or something. I would want to be able to try out some of them. So I would wonder, like, would he pick out some, knowing my specifications, and then send me like 2 or 3 to try, and then I would just, you know, send everything back if I didn't like anything, or just send back the ones I didn't like, or how that would work. Because, and also the bow selection as well. You know, I'm so grateful that I live close by. You know, only like a 30 or 40 minute drive away from his beautiful shop in the city. But I know what it's like, because I grew up in an area where there was one music store really that was like a high quality store, but I wouldn't have bought like a super expensive instrument there. I would have bought, like, they really specialized in supplying schools, and maybe today that's different. I think that they do have some higher quality. I actually used to be a model for them. I'll have to show you, you know, hold on one moment, promo. I was a model for them. Let's see here. Southwest Strings. They're a lovely company. but I just remember that they, at the time, were really supplying more like schools rather than, like I might have bought like, honestly, it was just so long ago, I really don't remember. Let me see if they have any pictures here still. It was a long time ago. Is this interesting at all? Probably not, but I'm curious. No, I don't see. It was on one of their covers. It was on one of their covers. Anyway. Yeah, so I'd be interested in being able to play the instruments and be able to compare. And you know, when you're in a higher price range, you want to be able to try out some things. You know, definitely want to be able to try out some things. So if you guys have any questions, I have my notebook right here, and I will try to catch your question there because I'm gonna interview him on Zoom. You know, sometime in August, and I'll post it for you guys. Would you recommend supporting a local luthier or one far away from but famous? It really depends. I mean, it's about what you want. It's not necessarily about like, it's about you. Like when you're looking for an instrument, you're trying to find something that represents your voice and that you like the sound of, that you like, that's comfortable for you to play. And so, like when I got my harp, I bought it from a harp maker that lives in like Michigan. And I think it just all boils down to that. So that's why I just am trying to give people this reference, because David's wonderful and so helpful and available, and his family has been in this business for like at least 2 or 3 generations. And so they're really, really knowledgeable, and they're really nice. Like it's just him and his son and his wonderful co-worker Jen that run the store. It's basically like a family operation, but it's like super high quality, and they supply, you know, all of Philadelphia with the best instruments and rehairs and everything. So they're right next to Curtis, which is the greatest music school in the world. It's literally like the greatest music school in the world. So, and the Philadelphia Orchestra is here. I mean, there's just a lot of things that we have in Philadelphia that you just can't find elsewhere. So I just want people to know about it. Just giving them a big shout out, because they've helped my studio so much, and I just love them. So I'm all about customer service too. Like when you have really good customer service and they treat you well and they give you the very best, and they have a high standard, that's where I'd want to get something from. It's not a pretentious shop. It's not like one of those like hoity-toity places that like walk in and they're like, sizing you up. It's like a welcoming, very welcoming, and they're excited that you're playing and whatever level you're at. So I just love them. So, okay, let's get into this fairy book. I'm in a fairy outfit today, like a fairy dress outfit to show you. It's a long flowing dress. And I think it's the perfect dress to read about fairies. So I'm gonna move this out of the way. And actually, I'm gonna take my little tea tray. Thank you, Julian. I wish I could find someone like you, but I know. Oh, I missed your comment. It kind of faded away, but I'm sending you a big hug. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to move my little table here and attempt to move the harp out of the way. Okay. Let's see here. Harp goes over here. And oh, I missed your comment. You guys, I wish there was like a little bell. If there's like a little bell that went off, that would be very helpful. Okay, now I'm going to just attempt to tilt you down. Sorry about the cat little scratches here. I'm going to cover that because it's going to annoy me. Cover it with this wonderful periodic table blanket. There we go. And I'm going to move you down here. We're basically going to look through this book together. Okay. I know. I know. She's not. She's actually a sweetheart. Our little cat is a total sweetheart. She's just, she's just a cat. Cats do that. Okay, so we're gonna kind of curl up here and flip through this wonderful book. So, let me grab my glasses. Let me just grab my glasses so I can see. Okay. Was my cat having a bad day? Probably. Okay. This is the beautiful Good Fairies, Bad Fairies book by Brian Froud. You can actually get this on Amazon, although I got it on Barnes & Noble. It's not bad. It's really a gorgeous book, and I thought it would be way more expensive. But it's really not. You know what? I think I need to tilt you guys down a little bit more. Hopefully my tripod can handle this. Okay, it seems stable. Okay. There we go. The fairies, I'm right over here. The fairies I draw are a spontaneous manifestation of my relationship with the world. A normally invisible domain is given form first of all in my sketchbooks. Fairy faces emerge from the blank white pages if out of a mist. A few loose random squiggles are drawn, and suddenly a complete personality appears, demanding attention and a name. And I love, you can kind of see that there's some that are more pronounced, and then like some in the background, and there's one really in the background, some more in the background. It's just so lovely, so lovely. And I'm gonna read you a little bit of this. I'm just trying to remember kind of an interesting place. I also want to show you a little bit of this book first, so you can get an idea of the imagery, because it's absolutely beautiful imagery. Of their little faces and the hats and everything. Fairies are seen not by the eyes, but through the heart, says. There's earth fairies, water fairies, fire fairies, air fairies. Fairies tell us that small things can hold great truths. I love that. Beautiful. Fairy size, fairy healing. Lovely, lovely. So there's a nice kind of section with lots of stuff to learn about fairies. And then there's fairies take us to a land where wisdom is inseparable from whimsy and where leprechauns dance with angels. And we're going to get into these beautiful images. The spring or primrose fairy. Just going to run through a lot of these. Beautiful, beautiful. The undines and sylphs. Hey, Spock, there you are. Aren't these lovely? Look at this. I love this one. The no-name fairy. This fairy came to me one morning dancing around my weary head with his spindly wings, his cheeky grin spinning a cobweb crown of confusion. That doesn't help, I growled in dismay. Try this, he laughed and teased the crown into long filaments, antennas to pick up the waves of artistic inspiration. Then he was gone, and I realized that I had never learned his name. Aren't they just beautiful? Some of them are a little bit scary looking. And that's all right. Look at this one's precious, precious, precious. But I just spent yesterday morning or the day before just flipping through this book and just letting my eyes like enjoy, like my eyes were eating, if that makes any sense. Like my soul got a little bit of food, just like we eat, we nourish our body, but just like our mind as well, and our eyes like to look, and they need like beautiful things to look at, inspiration. So just having a beautiful book of, this would be a fabulous present, by the way, like for Christmas, a fabulous present to send to somebody would be this wonderful magical fairy book. Beautiful coffee table book. Beautiful, beautiful. It's just very pleasing, very, very pleasing to look through these. So these are all the good fairies, right? We're gonna be eventually approaching kind of the bad fairies. The King of Green Men. The Wood Woman. Lovely, lovely. Look how cute that one is. This one is apparently the fairy companion called Boone protects children from suffering bad dreams. Isn't that so precious? These are the friends. Help children like make friends. Just so cute. So if I turn this upside down, I'm gonna close this. I'm gonna turn it upside down. And we're gonna look at the bad fairies. So, and it's neat because the inside cover is actually, it is also upside down. So we're just reading this upside down and backwards, bad fairies. And it has the preface, the same preface, but slightly different images. Introduction. Let me just read your tiny bit of this. Although people nowadays tend to think of fairies as gentle little sprites, anyone who has encountered fairies know they can be tricksy, capricious, even dangerous. Our ancestors certainly knew this. And you know what I love about him is that he has studied the really ancient mythology. Like he knows the mythology of the Celts, which I'm reading. He knows the ancient Greeks. And it's just interesting. I just love his thought. I like his mind. So there's even a musician here, fairy music. Fairy music. Music is a delight to the fairies and a sure way to capture their attention. Musicians are particular favorites of theirs, particularly those that play the Celtic harp or the violin. So like I've got both of those. They didn't say the viola though, anyway. So they love people that play the Celtic harp or the violin. More than one modern folk musician can describe a fairy encounter, even if they then laugh it off or put it down to too much drink. Folklore abounds with the tales of fairy harpers seducing mortal maids with irresistible music. In old folk ballads, we find Thomas the Rhymer, the Scottish harper of great renown, who is spirited away to entertain the fairy queen for 7 years. It goes on. But isn't that beautiful? Beautiful, beautiful. The bad fairies. Looks a little bit like, what's his name? Oh my gosh, what is his name? Ground control major. David Bowie. David Bowie. Doesn't this look like David Bowie? Looks like David Bowie. Look at this one. Look at this one. So you guys, this is a very, very cool book. I just think it is so fun to look through. I love seeing all the lovely images. Just anything, just, you know, I love beautiful, beautiful art, you know. So I would definitely check this book out. Good Fairies, Bad Fairies by Brian Froud. And to go hand in hand with this book, I actually bought this lovely fairy oracle. So these are just some cards that I like to, every once in a while I like to just draw some lessons, draw some cards for lessons, you know. So even though, you know, you can't be in person in your lesson at the moment, I can kind of draw a card for you. So this is the book that goes with it. But actually, this book I just showed you, the Good Fairies, Bad Fairies book, this really is the companion. It's just, like, if you have both of them, it's awesome. So, beautiful, beautiful. These are the cards. These are the lovely cards. And you know what? Those of you who know that I love Psychic Bob's channel, Spirit channel, he's teaching a psychic development class on Saturdays, and I am actually every once in a while helping out with that. So if you're interested, it's tomorrow if you want to join the psychic development class. But Psychic Bob just bought these, so he inspired me to buy these, and I just think they're beautiful because I love Brian Froud. And these are just, this is what it looks like, the card. You know, they've got just the crazy world beyond, you know, the door. It's almost like there's like a door and you just poke your head through the door and there's the fairy realm. So, beautiful cards. I'll show you some of them. Remember seeing these in the book? We saw these in the book. Beautiful, but you know, as I was saying earlier, you can just draw a card for your practice. Put it on your music stand, and then you'll have a little piece of art to be inspired from. You know, you can even dedicate your practice to a fairy and make a fairy friend, and I'm sure they would love that. Love, love, love that. Aren't these just so neat? Oh my gosh, back day. You gotta go to sleep. Okay. I'm gonna play some intervals in a little bit, I think. But sweet dreams. Sweet dreams. You know what? Let's pull a little card. The first card that I ever drew from this deck was this one. The fairy guide so my own fairy guide. It's a blank one because it's gonna come through, and it's there, you know. That was just so neat. So, okay, give this a little shuffle. Can you guys see the rain outside? You see the rain trickling down? Okay, let's see. Card number 58. I'm going to read to us about this. Let me see if I can find that. So I'm going to put this here, and if you can see it, try to see as much as you can, like notice details, find some details that you can pick up on. Even the number 58. Okay, there we go. Flaff the footer, being real, earthing, grounding, centering. Just as life is becoming surprising, exciting, and very interesting, though not necessarily fun, Flaff the foot fungus fairy, oh my gosh, comes along to check out our feet. He picks up one foot in his remarkably strong hands and looks it over for fluff between the toes, smelling fungi and dirty, untrimmed toenails. If he finds any of these signs of disrespect for our feet and for Earth Mama walking on her with grubby feet, yuck, he marks them by making holes in our socks. If things are really bad, he sends mice to eat our dancing shoes, so we will be forced to dance barefoot in the dewy meadows under the moon. If it happens that we have snow instead of dew, that is just our luck. As it goes on, I'm going to read just a teeny bit more of this one. Let's see. Quick fairy tips for earthing. Stroke your feet gently with both hands, each one for 5 minutes. You can also check for holes in your socks while doing this. You know, it's actually really relaxing to like rub your arches at night. Definitely do that. I do that with a little lavender oil sometimes, or peppermint oil. Paint your toenails bright red. That's funny. Starter reading. Breathe, ground, center. Breathe, ground, and center. Maintain sanity by staying earthed. Do this now. Important information is coming your way, but you can only receive it properly if your feet are on terra firma and your head is well connected to the rest of your body. So anyway, you can see he's sitting amongst little mushrooms and being fabulous. Just, I guess, being connected to the earth is nice. Going for a little walk, taking some time to, I don't know, eat some vegetables or just be present, grounding. Lovely. Love, love, love. So anyway, you guys, this is my wonderful fairy deck. This fairy has characteristics of my cat. Ashwami, I love that. That's so funny. That's very cute. All right, well, let me pop this away. And I'm going to just see if my harp is somewhat in tune, and we're going to do a short little interval exercise together. And, oops, let's see. Pop this in here. Put this back in here. So you guys, you know, these are excellent gifts. Like if you want to get a gift for somebody, getting like a fairy oracle deck or like any of these fairy books, I really, really, really like this one. Good Fairies, Bad Fairies. Good Fairies, Bad Fairies by Brian Froud. Amazing gift. Amazing, amazing gift. Especially for those of you, you know, even just a gift for yourself. Just a gift for yourself. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to move you around again. Keep these here. And I need to, let's see here, I'm gonna tilt you up. I think there we go. And then I also need to move you up this way. Let's see. There we go. Can you see our banana plant outside? The banana plant. Screw that on there. Make sure this is good. Okay. I need some lipstick. I'm looking a little bit faded. It's time for some lipstick. It's amazing what lipstick can do to make you look awake. Awake and alive. There we go. That's better. Okay. So let me unpack my harp, and we're gonna do a little interval exercise together. Okay. Was it last week that this came back? I can't remember if it was last week. I think it was the return of the harp. It feels like it's never left. It feels like it never left. Sorry for the noise. Okay. Alright, let's just get comfortable. There we go. Isn't this lovely, Ashwami? Yes. You turn so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, no. This is really painful. First thing we're going to do is we're going to tune this. And I'm just put this over here. I haven't quite gotten like the hang of how to hold things and where I should be, like how the position of things. And I noticed that my ability to play this thing really, just like the violin and viola, depends on the ease of playing, depends on my form. There we go. to do that. She's on YouTube, Christy Lynn. I think she's in South Africa. Oh, you know, speaking of fairies, before I forget, my lovely friend, Alana, if you're here, if you're listening to this, thank you for sending me that info on the Brian Froud Fairy Festival. Apparently it's in Oregon, but apparently you can join it online. So that's interesting, very interesting that. Oops, that's my necklace. Just turn it around. The other thing I'm learning with this is that you don't really need like a really heavy hand with it. You can just kind of lightly touch the strings. And that's much better. I just always think of the concert harp. I think the concert harp you have to have like quite a lot of tension on the fingers to pull the strings. Okay, we're getting into the realm of I can't see what I'm doing over on this right side. Next one. Just a few more strings. There we go. Uh-oh. I'm gonna guess that it's like this one. One back. Okay, that's good enough. That is good enough now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the octaves. So an octave is the same note. They're just like, I forget technically exactly what's going on, but they're the same note. They're 8 notes apart. Right, C and C. We're going to check D and D. Sounds pretty good. E flat. I've tuned my harp in C minor. Did you hear that one? That one doesn't sound very good. I'm too lazy to fix it. So let's continue. G, A flat, and B flat. And there's no other B flat, and then we've got the C. Okay, so let me just play us something. Come up with a little improvisation for us, and then we'll go through and like learn some intervals and things. So this is going to be in the beautiful Dorian mode. So Dorian mode, for the way that I've tuned this, is the 1 is the blue, and then the 5 is red. So F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D, E flat, F. That's my scale that I'm working with. See. form, but not really doing very well. So, let's see. Beautiful song by Lorena McKennitt that I really love. Let me see if I can remember this one. It's also in the Dorian Mode. Beautiful, you guys. So even somebody that has no clue how to play the harp, yay! Thank you so much, Sophia. Well, you can see why it's, beloved of Faeries, the violin and the harp. And I can hear what it is that I want to bring out, but I'm struggling to get it out. So I have to take lessons. I just have to take lessons. So that's going to be fun for me. It's been really fun to actually take a class, and to take this psychic class. Psychic class has been very, very fun. And it continues every Saturday at 12 Eastern Standard Time. So if you go to psychicbob.com, you can just sign up for the class. It's $30. You can come, go, whatever. It's always on Saturday at 12. So, and I'm just enjoying learning about it. But to learn an instrument and to take lessons myself will be so exciting. I'm just so excited. So, yes, I have to reach out to Christy Lynn. I actually have. It's just I reached out to her before I had the harp. So, now we're going to do a little interval training. Intervals are the distances between notes. So, just like we were talking about on our studio circle last night, we can see distances, right? As a human being, we have the capacity to see a distance. We can feel distances, right? Close, further, really far. Like we can feel these distances. We can hear distances as well, which is interesting to think about, that you can hear a distance. You can hear distances. And that's what an interval is. So practice together is the most important interval, in my opinion, besides a perfect fifth. In fact, I was reading somewhere, it might have been in my sound healing book I just finished. That's a really good book, The 7 Secrets of Sound Healing. Wow, it's a good book. I linked it on my Amazon store if you go to that, which, like after this uploads, I'll put links to all of that like I always do. But the perfect fifth is considered like an incredibly healing interval, the perfect fifth. And that's why a lot of music actually revolves around the perfect fifth. Like the song I just played. Music and very like simple music, like ancient music or medieval music, it revolves around the perfect fifth. So it's the fundamental building block, but the tiny building blocks are whole steps and half steps. The smallest interval that we have is a half step. It's a minor second. 2 notes, second. Minor meaning that's the smallest one, minor second. So the way I've tuned my harp, let me find a register that's a little easier to hear. A half step sounds like jazz. Half step always sounds like jazz. It's very important. It is a dissonant interval if you play them together. But listen to the beauty of the resolution if I go to a third. Dissonance, poignant. It grabs you, the dissonance, and when it resolves, it's much more poignant. So dissonance is quite important. And they're hard to tune because they're dissonant. The other one that we have is a major second. That's like kind of our do, re, mi. It sounds like do, re, mi. So do, re, mi. But if those are out, then it's going to sound really bad. And so when we're working with our hand patterns on the violin, or viola, when you have your basic hand pattern or low 2 hand pattern or extended third finger hand pattern or whatever, those are made out of whole steps and half steps. And we have to chisel those hand patterns out every time that we practice. We have to make sure that our ear has the opportunity to really hear those intervals, not just the individual notes, but the distances between them, because it's the distances between the notes that help us to that music is made out of. Music is made out of like a little puzzle of different interval combinations. And so let's practice hearing half steps and whole steps. So here's a few examples of a half step. Sounds like jazz. Here's another one. One's a little bit, I think, out of tune. The other interval that we have, well, there's so many, but the other one that we're working with today is a whole step, a major second. So that's kind of consecutive notes, but they're not squished together. They're a whole step apart. And they sound like do, re, do, re. Do, re. Hear that? Try to hear your starting note as do. Hear the second note and see if it sounds like jazz or do, re. So let's try some together. I'm going to play it 3 times and then you just guess and see what you think. By the way, we do this in music school. This is part of the class of music theory, is being able to hear your intervals. So try to think of the starting note as do, and then you can hear the second note a little bit better. Do. Anyone want to? Yes, Natalia's here. Oh my gosh. You know what I just realized, Natalia, is that you've put Faye on the last part of your name, Natalia Faye. Did you catch the Natalia's one of my students. Did you catch the Faeries part of this live stream? Oh my gosh. For your lesson, I'm going to have to pull a little card for your lesson. We'll have fun with that. Anyway, perfect. Let's do another one. Try to think of the first note is do. Oh, you missed it. You missed it. Well, that's okay. I'm gonna pull a little fairy card for you on when is your lesson? Sunday. Sunday. Used to be Saturday, didn't it? But then I have my class now. Sunday. So let's think of the starting note. Do. What do you think this one is? Anyone? Think of this as do. Yes, you're right. You got it. What about this one? Let's see. This one's a half step. How about another one? Let's see. Jaws. Yes, that's right. Half step. This one's also jaws. Whoops. Was it this one that I was playing? I forget. This is not jaws. This is do, re, do, re. Okay, I'm getting lost up here. Sorry, you guys. You know what? I'm getting hungry. I'm so hungry. I'm looking at my little avocado thing that I was eating earlier, and there's one more left, so we're gonna pause for a little nibble, and you guys tell me if you have any questions or thoughts or anything. I also have some tea left over, but it's cold. It's cold tea. It's not very nice. For those of you that just got here, you must check out this tea. This is officially now my favorite tea. Harnian Sun Scottish Morn. It's fabulous. It is so fabulous. Harnian Sun Scottish Morn. Harnian Sun Scottish Morn. You gotta grab some. You know, it's something that we don't think about when we first learn, because often, I know my music teachers never really talked to me about intervals, but if you can, there's only so many intervals that we have. Half steps, whole steps, right? Those are our seconds. Minor and major thirds. Perfect fourth. Perfect fifth. Major and minor sixths. Major and minor sevenths. And then you've got your octave. And then there's like a tritone within there. You've got like ninths and tenths and things like that. But those are really just like an octave and a second. Or an octave and a third or something. Oops. And you know, sometimes we'll be playing something and we'll be like, well, I'm playing all the notes, right? Like the notes are all right. Why does it sound so bad? It's because your intervals are not right. If I tune my harp where it was kind of in tune-ish, but unless it's like really in tune, my intervals are all out. And so, when you tune the harp, you have to be really careful that you're precisely tuning everything. On the violin, sorry, it's my cayenne pepper. It's a bad idea. Oh my gosh. Does anyone else like spicy food? I love spicy food. It's just, I'm talking and eating at the same time. Whew, okay. If your hand patterns are out of tune, your whole steps and half steps, because our hand patterns are made out of whole steps and half steps, your fingers are only ever going to be a whole step and half step distance apart from each other. But if you do 1 to 3, it's a whole step and a half step. For example, if you're in the basic hand pattern. So you got to make sure that your intervals are all correct. And especially like when you're playing in a group, if you do a duet, if you're an orchestra, you have to be able to hear all those intervals, and you have to be able to like at least hear like how you're playing against the lowest, right? Because we always tune to the lowest pitch. So, anyway, tuning is quite interesting. Hello, John. Thank you for being here. Would you like some avocado? It's very good. It's very good. Sometimes I put like a hard-boiled egg on them too. I was trying to rush to get ready. Well, you know, I'm curious about some of your thoughts. Do you have any like video requests at all? Because I'm on this like scales kick right now. I really want to get all those scales out to you, and that's what I keep putting out each week. But I know that can be really boring for people, so I'm gonna like shake things up a little bit. I was gonna make a video on like my teaching setup, like my online teaching setup, like how to set yourself up for an online lesson even. Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Natalia. The scales are helpful, and it's nice to have a recording to play along with, I think, like be able to play along with it, or to play starting on the 3rd scale degree or 5th scale degree, whatever. Basically, that would be like, you know, if you play along with the recording. Oh, Sylvia would love to play some work by female composers. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I will have to look into that. But basically, like if you were going to play along with the recording, let's say you want to play the C scale with me. This is going to be the C minor scale. The recording starts out on C. But if you just start on the 3rd scale degree, that's 3 notes ahead, then we'll be playing it like this. And you can practice hearing your thirds and the beauty and poignancy, connecting as an artist with that incredible harmony. Or if you want to start on the 5th scale degree, starting on the note G if I'm in the key of C. This is C minor. This is an ancient, and the perfect 5th is that sacred interval. It's a tritone. Tritone. So, I think it makes it more interesting to play scales rather than just playing along with me. You can play starting on a different scale degree. You could even start on a 2nd and hear how dissonant that is if you just stayed in seconds the whole time or played in 4ths. Or in 6ths. Or in 7ths. Or in octaves. For example. So thank you, Paul. Thank you. Well, I try. So I'm trying to put that content out for you so that you can. Ooh, Hildegard. Oh my gosh, Natalia, thank you for that. You know, Hildegard is so magical. Brian Froud even talks about her. He talks about, you know, let me see if I can find that. Hold on. Hildegard von Bingen. You guys, if you go to Violin Online or Viola Online, and you go to the string class tab, and you go to the, what is that called? The medieval tab. The first piece there is by Hildegard von Bingen. She is amazing, absolutely fabulous. You can even Google her on, or search for her on YouTube, Hildegard von Bingen. Fabulous. Where is this? I was reading about her yesterday. I put it in my Instagram story. Pretty sure. Just a second. See if I can find this. I'm pretty sure it was around here somewhere. I don't see see it. Well, anyway, Hildegard and fairies and, the sacred and our soul and everything. Hildegard is wonderful. Well, you know what, you guys? I'm out of tea. And my tea is cold. And it has stopped raining. I have to take a couple things to the tailor today. So I have to go to the tailor's, and I was going to go see my friend Lisa at her fabulous store, Magical Moon. Not Magical Moon. It's magical. Her store's called Silver Moon, but I got this amazing pendant there, and a lot of things I've gotten from Silver Moon. This is a rose quartz pendant. Rose quartz is like the love stone, right? In the fact that it sits right over the heart or in the chest area. This is, like, for whatever reason, this particular stone, it has a big effect on me. Like, I become much more emotional whenever I wear this stone, or much more receptive to emotion. So it's a good one when you're, connecting with others and when you're playing an instrument, but it's just a beautiful stone, so I love it. But anyway, I was going to go say hi to her. It's been ages since I've been there. Like all of us, we never go anywhere anymore, so unless it's to the grocery store, right? So I was thinking it might be time to go have a lovely socially distant time at my friend's store and maybe bring the harp, and I wanted to bring her some of these fairy things too to kind of flip through. So I'm going to love and leave you. I'm going to, as I said earlier, interview David Michie about violins and violas and all of that again, and just kind of do an updated video about that. Maybe more concise, because I know that I ramble and babble, and I know it can be boring and maddening. So if you have questions for me about that, you can just put them in this video. Just put them in the comment section, and I would be grateful for your questions, because otherwise I'm going to just have to come up with questions that I think people might be interested in, and that'll be a video. I was thinking of doing a video on my setup, just filming how I set up for online lessons and how a student could potentially do the same. And if you guys are interested in joining our wonderful studio circle gatherings, this is this basically what it looks like. It's like a happy little time together, and we're just all there. And I started off our class last night, so it was the last Thursday of every night. You can join it on Patreon. Just go to my Instagram and click on my bio. There's a link in the bio, or just go to patreon.com/violinviolamasterclass, and you can join us. Love to have you there. And there's going to be just fun things that we do, Halloween things, Thanksgiving things, holiday themed kinds of things, and they're just a fun little gathering. So very family oriented. It's just a bunch of us. It's our studio family. And so there's that, and I think that's about it. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Go find some magical fairies. Check this out. Check out Good Fairies, Bad Fairies. It's an excellent present. Go buy this tea. This tea is the greatest tea ever. Whatever tea you get from Hardy & Sons, they're super high quality. And if you need to know how to brew loose leaf tea, just go get yourself one of these little French presses. It's called a French press. Put a teaspoon of your loose tea in the French press and you're good to go. Black tea, you need to put in boiling water, but if you're going to drink green tea, it needs to be 185. So there are certain kettles that you can set the temperature to, or you can just boil your tea and then just put in an ice cube or something, one ice cube in the kettle, and maybe that will bring it down. But you don't want to put boiling water because it makes green tea really bitter. So anyway, those are my tips. Those are my gourmet tips for you. And I'll see you next Friday. All right? Lots of love, you guys. Thank you for being here. Bye, you guys. Bye-bye.